Check. Morning, Toriano Sanzoni on the Wolf Keeper Show. How's everybody feeling? Everybody good?
Happy Motivating Monday.
Happy Motivating Week. Let's get into it right away. So on Friday, Rayshard Brooks fell asleep in a Wendy's. And I can say personally that I have fallen asleep in a Wendy's before. I've fallen asleep in White Castle. I've fallen asleep in my car. Tiger Woods. Everyone has fallen asleep in their car before. And instead of someone just coming knocking on the door saying, hey, wake up, move it. They call the police. They sit and have a whole conversation with this guy for 10, 15 minutes plus. They do a breathalyzer, which he didn't know at that point in time to say, hey, I would like to call a staff sergeant. I would like to call your manager. I'd like to call someone, right? Or just calm energy. He was definitely way too close to that police officer, which I tell people, why do you do this podcast? Because for me, it's so much like dog training. You know what I mean? It's like if I see a pit bull that wants to attack, I'm not going to stand that close to them. I'm going to keep my distance. He was way too close to that officer. And I would have had my hands like this. And we teach people to have their hands like this so they don't get killed or that you don't get a dog that's going to jump on your throat. So I would have definitely kept my distance and he said, stay right there. But he didn't know to do that. He didn't take my dog training classes. He was not a wolf keeper. But I want to make people wolf keepers so that they can keep a distance from these people so they don't get killed. And I did, and I say this, I mean it from my heart. I promise you, Shania, I mean it by my heart. Because I've taught kids in classes to keep a distance when they see themselves around police officers. And like, that's a real thing. And that shouldn't be a real thing, but it is a real thing, right? Keep your distance. This is like with dog training. If I see a dog that's going to attack me, I keep my distance. I back up. Because when I was training with Cesar Milan, he said a beautiful thing, someone has to submit. And that's what this is all about. Somebody has to submit. Someone has to be calm and rational in a very irrational situation that can go wrong. So as I'm watching this video, I'm like, step back. Let this guy work, whatever he's going to do. Sit down. Sit on your hands. Whatever. Because we've seen video and we know that might not even work, right? But nevertheless, the breathalyzer comes back. They want to put handcuffs on this guy, right? And he tussles with them for whatever reason, run, whatever. And I tell people this all the time, is that at that moment in time, you must make a decision, and you don't know what decision you're going to make. This time last year, I'm walking down the street. Me, The great mighty Toriano Sanzoni, the wolf keeper, ran for alderman. My resume is ridiculous. I'm walking down the street in front of my house. I'm on the phone with my great friend, and 3 officers throw me against a fence, got my whole shirt up like this, looking for a gun. And I leaned forward and I said, hey, I'm the alderman. And they stepped back. They got scared. I reached in my coat like this, pulled out a business card, handed it to them. They didn't even look at it. They snatched it and they ran the car. I know what to do because I train people to do this. Because it's the same way if I'm looking at this dog right there, there's a pit bull right there. And I have dogs that can hurt you, right? They don't respect humans. And all you can do at that point in time is be calm and relaxed. If you try to put pressure on them, they're going to react. So if a police officer stops me, all I can do is be calm and relaxed. I'm not going to react. But that's an art. And it's sad to say that that is an art. And it is an art that has to be mastered in order to stay alive. It is an art that has to be mastered to stay alive, not just as a fact, you know, but I'm saying just in general, it's an art. But Rayshard Brooks did not know that art. He did not understand the principles of dog training to be calm and relaxed when there's some point of difference. And that point of difference is aggression, or that point of difference is where someone is calculating that they are now about to put handcuffs, or in our world, a dog on this. Yes, I'm moving around, girl. I hear all that noise. What are you doing? Whether you're putting a dog leash or handcuffs on somebody or something, you have. If I'm gonna teach you to put a dog leash on an aggressive pit bull, and I will challenge anybody out there. We can go to animal care control where I started training dogs, and if I'm going to teach you to put a dog leash on an animal, on something that is already at a heightened energy, if I'm going to teach you to I'm not even a police officer, but I just know this from my grandfather, Edwin Williams Jr., from my grandfather, William Bill Buford, that if I'm going to handcuff you, I'm going to do it in a nice, calm way. I'm going to ask you to please turn around. I'm going to be the Billy D of the police officer. But I understand that's a different way. It's the same way with dog trainers. When I see some dog trainers, the amount of pressure that they put on dogs, they get bit. And they shouldn't be dog training. The same way some people shouldn't be teachers, the same way somebody should not be a police officer, because you're putting someone in a high level of stress every day, right? Same thing with dogs. Because every day, I say it's any given Sunday, because a dog can bite you in the face. I have been bit in my face. I've had my throat ripped open. I've had my hand broken. I've had my side open. I've cumulatively been in the hospital about a year if I added all the times from dog bites. That wasn't from eras per se, but it was because at that moment in time, my energy was not calm. So if you have this person that's stopping a person, got him out of his car, and you're about to wrangle with him and quickly grab him, now you have put him into fight mode. The same way if I quickly grab that dog, I'm going to put him in fight mode and you're going to get bit. What happened? This guy decided that he was going to wrestle with a police officer, which you should not do, because now you're putting them in fight mode. At that moment in time, somebody has to submit, but it's easier said than done until you are in that situation.
Why are we always the ones submitting, though?
Well,
it's their job. It's their job to protect, again, and to serve. We are always having to submit. We are always having to be the bigger person. And, you know, I'm big on being the bigger person. I'm big on always doing what's right. I'm big on walking away from things that's, you know, not good. But
in life in general, though, you can say
who trains the police officers?
But I'm
you
saying,
got dog trainers. We have to be trained.
Your mama and your daddy.
Yeah, but I'm saying, who trains the police officers to do?
Your mama and your daddy. It starts when people are young, and the same way with a puppy. Some dogs don't even get to the point where you have to put that much pressure on them because they were trained. You come from an amazing household, you know, Chanel, you know what I mean, where you are all about peace. You know what I mean? I don't come from a super amazing household. I come from a household that was filled with violence. I grew up with a dad that was military in Vietnam. My grandfather was Korean War. They were out on the streets of Chicago every day fighting crime until they died. So to get someone to know in that moment in time, Rayshard Brooks, Friday, shot, once in the back, once in the butt.
And we just said, I'm like, didn't I just say, like, is George Floyd's going to be the last name? I mean, I'm sure it's not. Rayshard Brooks is not going to be the last name.
No,
however, but it's so quick.
No. Well, it's not even so quick.
It's so quick.
It's not even that quick, you know. It's happening right now as we speak. Someone is getting murdered right now as we speak. And it's not even, it's the training. Training costs money. If you want me to teach you how to train a dog that is aggressive, to not bite your face off when you're putting a leash on it, that's not cheap. It's not cheap. The same way, if you're going to train a police officer to put themselves in a situation every day where they're confronted with people that are experiencing mental illness, that are intoxicated, that are drunk, that are on some kind of mind-altering drug, it is not cheap, right?
It's still a price that needs to be paid, period. I don't care how cheap it is, because we're paying the price of lives being lost. So
who's going
to pay the price?
Well, we can bring it back. It all, like I said, it all comes back to education, right? You get what you pay for, period. You get what you pay for. You can go to Petco or you can come to Wolf University. We're not cheap, right? You can send your police trainers to this academy, which they've been saying we need a new academy. But then who has really scrutinized the academy, right? Who's scrutinizing even in the education platform, right? Of teaching children on how to de-escalate. And even before then, it starts de-escalation and not getting into a fight starts early, of teaching people how to be calm in extreme situations. Why do we always have to submit? Well, somebody has to. Someone has to be the bigger person. In the case of Rayshard Brooks, right, he decided I'm going to.
So then we need to be the ones with the badges then. I mean, they're getting paid to do what they're doing.
Do you want to become
I don't understand why the script always have to be flipped.
I'm saying, who's raising that? Do you want to become an officer?
I don't. That's not my ministry.
Okay, that's the thing, is that I commend anyone that wants to be in that job position. Anyone that wants that job, I commend them. It's a stressful job, but I'm saying is that
But even still, like there's a police academy, they have to go through a bunch of stuff to even get to that point. So what is it that they're going through? What loops is it just training?
What I'm saying is that here's the bottom line.
Fitness? Is it how do they train?
Here's the bottom line. I'm going to say this across the board. Here's a blanket huge statement for everybody, right? Any situation that you're in where you have to be taught to be calm, whatever, I don't care what job you have, whether you're in corporate America, police officer, teacher, politician, right? Whatever situation you're in.
McDonald's, customer service, anything. Yeah. Like when you're doing a job.
I'm saying people aren't taught to be calm, period.
That's why.
Here's the bottom line. And now we're not just talking about being calm. We're talking about being calm in the most extreme situation, right? I got called a nigger this weekend. My sister got called one, right? A group, my whole little peaceful group. I hadn't heard derogative statements like that since the freaks. I can't even tell you the last time I heard that. Actually, I can. I was quick side story. I was in Berlin at dinner, and my friend said, "Can someone turn this nigger music down?" I'm like, "Oh shit!" He's like, "Turn it on. I'm so sorry." I was like, "Hey, it's okay. It's slipped out of your mouth. Don't worry." But intentionally to hear derogative, hurtful, mean words, to see young people sitting there that had never heard any, and that's the thing I didn't realize, and why this protest and everything is going to be going on for a while. And my landlord texted me this morning, why are you protesting in an area where welcomed you? And I say, because you have to, number one, because this time around, as long as there's a Rayshard Brooks being shot, running away from the police. And what I was getting at, that gets two things there. Rayshard Brooks, Army Almaret, any of these situations, George Floyd, at those moments in time, I'm just telling people out there, because I teach this in dog training. Dog training carries over to other aspects of your life. At that moment in time, all you can do is take a deep breath, relax, and chill. Palms like this. Not even like this. That's too much energy. Just palms like this. Just relax and be calm. Let it be. Laugh. Relax. Relax.
And then it's almost like the people that's going nuts. I mean, the guy that was out there going nuts. Like, if you look at him, look how silly he looks. Like, I don't want to be arguing with nobody. I feel like when you argue with someone that's that in an uproar, just let them let them just go nuts.
You're cut from a different cloth. I
definitely am, but I mean, it's still my perspective, though. Oh, you know what I'm saying? And like I was telling,
I'm saying I was like, just so we're clear, it's easier said than done, because you're not just dealing with when a person gets to that point where you're upset. I mean,
okay, so then at the same time too, Soriano, how do you teach somebody to be calm, whether they're cut from a different cloth or anything?
They have to want to learn. It's not cheap. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, so what if I was taught to be calm? What if I was taught that I answered to, I am what I answer to?
And here's my challenge for you.
Whether you call me a bitch, whether you call me a nigger, whether you call me anything, I am who I answer to. So you can be upset, you can be ignorant. I'm going to let you do what you're going to do, and I'm just going to sit back.
Here's my challenge for you then, because you have those capabilities, and you truly do. You really do, 100%. You should be part of the people leading the charge. You mean, because if you know I have that skill set. That's why, Lord knows, I don't need one more project. Lord knows I don't need one more project. I'm dealing with all.
I'm taking baby steps with all of this. This is.
I'm just saying though, is that Lord knows I don't need one more project, but I possess the skill set that you can see a lot of stuff to me, and I'm gonna remain calm.
I'll be the person that taps you on the shoulder and say, "Hey, it's not even worth it. Let them clown out."
What I'm saying is that all I can do is be responsible for myself, my block, my community. I live in 2 communities. I have businesses. I live in North Lawndale, and I work and live in Little Italy. All I can do is be responsible for these people that I'm around. My block. All you can do is, I'm saying, on your block, and everyone that's watching this, if you possess those abilities to have peace and love under the most extreme situations, it is your.
And it doesn't even have to be on the block. It could just be anywhere you're at. Like anywhere you're at, you can exude that energy wherever, whether it's in the airport, Starbucks, anywhere.
That's what I'm saying, Chanel. What I'm saying is that this time around, and there's something going on every day somewhere. Now, I'm saying is that if I'm talking to you specifically. You can go and test and put your peace and calmness to the max all the time. To be the peacemaker. If somebody has to be the peacemaker, somebody has to be the person to say, hey, you know what? Walk away. Let it go. Period. Because you truly have that. And if anyone is listening out there, if you have that ability to do that, right? I find the person, Wendy's should be upset that no one out of Wendy's came outside, especially the manager who called. You got 2 police cars in your parking lot, and no one came outside and said, hey, you know what? Walk away. Let's relax.
No, because everybody wants to grab their phones and go on Facebook Live. Like
exactly. That's what I'm saying. That's where this is all problematic, because I'm saying this as someone that used to do security at a club, right? When you have people that are intoxicated on some type of mind-altering drug or substance, post-traumatic stress syndrome, it's easier said than done, number one, to say, I'm just going to walk away, right? That's one. 2, don't put yourself in situations where you might have to just do that. But here we are, COVID and a national crisis, George Floyd, and then this Friday, the Rayshard Brooks. America, the world, these aren't going to go away. These situations are only going to keep increasing until we as a group of people finally decide to as we as a group of people decide to take action, number one, and whatever your action is, right? I'm not saying that your action is going out protesting. I'm not saying that your action is writing a book or doing whatever your contribution is. But for the first time ever, we must all contribute, or you're going to see more of what's happening. And I just want to finish the story of Rayshard Brooks for those that might not be aware. So Rayshard Brooks, he tussles with these two police officers. He actually did a great job. He got away. He's running away. At that point in time, they could have made a decision. You know what? We got his car. Let him go. Right? He can only go so far. Call the helicopter. We can only go so far. But, and this is someone that's a concealed carry user, someone that studies weaponry. To shoot someone while they're running away, right? The training is not there. That's a deficit in training. And my mentor, John Farland, said that a long time ago. He said, "You're going to learn more than what a lot of police officers know because firearm training is not cheap. It's super expensive. It is not cheap at all, and you end up with situations like that. So that's just an educational training thing." But here we are again with Atlanta on fire. They're protesting in Atlanta. Now, Atlanta's not safe for human beings, much like Minneapolis is still not safe for human beings due to the George Floyd crisis. And we as a community, well, I want to fast forward. I got Tammy on here. I'll let you talk. But you know, I've been interrupting. Let you guys talk. This weekend on my peaceful dog walk, when I had 40 beautiful people, we walked through the gut of North Lawndale, through some areas where I was like, this might be a problem, this might be a problem. And it was so peaceful. Hey, can we take a picture with you guys? And we had every race, creed, sexual orientation walking together through the gut of North Lawndale, through the middle of wreckage, through the middle of places dominated. And this old black guy, no teeth, barely walking, comes up and he says, "You know what? All lives matter, not just black." And that touched my heart. It was like, I didn't know what he wanted at first. I thought he was going to either ask for some money or he was going to talk crap. He got up off the bus stop and walked to me and said, "All lives matter, not just black." And we walked all the way from Coster and Roosevelt to Loomis and Taylor, 5K. And we got over here. And earlier, someone had defaced the Columbus statue, which people are always complaining about the statue in general. That's just an ongoing issue of people that are protesters against the statue, and the statue is defaced. So you had people that were Christopher Columbus, people that were pulling up the statue, and you had us over here just kind of sitting, conversating with people. And then right away, a police officer comes up to me. And I got to put my action to test of what I'm saying. He comes to me, and I see him walking. I'm stepping back. I'm being calm and relaxed, and he says to me, "Someone just called and said that you threw paint on the statue." I said, "Sir, it doesn't look like I have any paint right now on me." And that clearly spray painted, not thrown, not painted with a brush. Wrong thing. Yeah, I know. But I just had to check it out. I didn't think that you would have done that. I'm like, thank you. Thank you for not thinking I threw paint on the statue on Columbus. But at that point in time, you have a decision to make. You can be calm or you can be relaxed. You can be calm or you can become irate. But at that point in time, especially because my buddy had already told me that was going on, that someone had defaced this statue, which is down the block from my business, which I put tons of money into, because I support the community. I support Little Italy, the thing that I supported Little Village, because I had businesses in both locations. We invested a lot of money, my money and other people's money, into building these businesses. So you can't beat any more investment than me and my crew and my family. I love this just as much as anyone else. So you shouldn't spray paint on anything, right? You shouldn't break any windows. But it is what it is. This time and period that we're living in right now, this George Floyd and Corona together has people doing all kind of crazy things. But I'm watching people slowly getting more of my irate between people being upset by Christopher Columbus and people being upset by George Floyd, a group of neighbors, which I actually recognize, all of them come out and they're just upset. These niggers, get the fuck out of here. This is our neighborhood. And the videos posted and they're irate, they're upset, they're screaming. Me being calm and relaxed, I'm working hard to get my 5 people out of here. Like, let's go. I'm literally screaming. I'm screaming at my sister, get over here. She's already short-tempered. She's like, get over here now. And she doesn't want to move. Right, get over here now. She doesn't want to move. My friend Xandra, who like is definitely much to get her going, I actually got her away from it, and then she ended up going back. Like, what are you doing? Get back over here. Right? But in those situations right there, it took all my energy just to calm down my 5 people that was still sitting there peacefully hanging out. And afterwards, I talked to them. I said, no matter what a person does, and I bring it back to dog training. It doesn't matter if the dog is super. I cannot meet aggression with aggression when I'm training a dog. I cannot meet aggression with aggression if a person's in my face, screaming whatever you want to scream, doing whatever you want to do, because eventually it's going to result into an actual physical reaction, which it did. A gentleman got so upset with this other guy who was up there saying, hey, you know what? These are things I've experienced as a child. He's experiencing his trauma for the first time, but trauma is not truly released until you talk about it for the first time. I have no scientific support. I have no scientific research to support that. That's how I feel that trauma is not experienced. But this guy, he's bringing it back. An adult male is talking about how he felt when he was in 5th grade and someone spray painted nigger on his locker. And he's so upset. And he's telling this guy, you don't know how that feels if you call a nigger. There's a white guy saying this, another white guy. And then the other guy takes a swing at this guy out of frustration, right? And that's where we're at right now in America. And that's what we're talking about today, about being calm and peace in times and periods where people are going back to work, people are going to the restaurant and all kind of things. And unless people really learn to become calm and peace, you're going to see more situations like Rayshard Brooks, if not worse, or things that we saw firsthand for ourselves this weekend. Tammy, you want to chime in here? I see you called in. You got something to say?
Yeah, you made me lose my train of thought. You were talking so much.
Anyway, it's the goalkeeper show, not the Tammy show. So it's my mic.
Yeah. That's why I'm going to get my own show so I can. I'll have Chanel co-hosting with me. Somebody that can be.
You know, he's always trying to fire me, Tammy.
Yeah, he's always trying to fire everybody, but he knows he needs everybody, so he can't. Anyway, I just kind of wanted to make about the training with police officers and them being trained in de-escalation, which I totally agree that there does need to be more training in de-escalation, for police officers. But at the end of the day, it still boils down to there also needs to be some degree or level of compassion among police officers who join the force, because when you have a police officer who does not have that woven in the fabric of his being, it does not matter what kind of training they get in de-escalation, they're not going to be able to utilize that training because it's not part of who they are. It's like I liken it to being in the healthcare profession, and I've been a nurse for 40 years, and I can honestly say that in the 40 years that I've been a nurse, we've had patients that have been very difficult to the point where security would have to be called for. And I've had other nurses taking care of patients that, the patient requests another nurse because the nurse allowed the situation to get out of hand by feeding into the current situation. And I've been asked to come in and intervene because they know at the end of the day, I can talk a patient down to the point where they're, like sending me gifts and they're my lifelong friends, and they didn't even start out being my patient. But I do recognize that you can't approach every situation the same, regardless of how the patient is behaving. Your response to how that patient is behaving can't be the same as that patient's
And Tammy,
action.
I would say, and here's my issue. I'm gonna bust you out because you could have been there on Saturday, but you couldn't because for whatever reason.
Oh my gosh.
You knew about it, and I'm saying that you and Chanel, and I know you all both personally. Obviously, I know you the best because you're my aunt. You are definitely the peacekeeper. You're one of the most diplomatic people that I know. And so, for the first time ever, it's definitely going to take people to be diplomatic to calm people down because everyone does not have that skill set. That is for sure. But even this Friday, we're going to do it again. I implore everyone, be there because there's going to be people that are going to be having conversations. They're going to get so amped up that you're going to need people to de-escalate. I mean, it took all my energy to de-escalate. You know how Xandra is. Our good friend Xandra gets hyped up a lot. I mean, she's getting in the hospital. You mean because she's not that nurse like you that's going to be calm and relaxed. And that's what, and I just to touch on, we do have to have compassion for people that want to do that. But I'm not going to say I'm the smartest business person and dog trainer on the world. I'm being sarcastic. I am when it comes to picking other dog trainers. I can look at a person and say in 2 seconds, they're not going to work because they will end up getting bit. I'm sure you can say the same thing about nurses right away, how long you've been doing it, that they're not going to work. They don't have the level of patience to deal with that. The same way a person can do it with teachers, same way a great trainer and teacher should be able to do with police officers, right? I don't blame players. Coaches.
Hello?
Yes.
Yeah, no, what I was going to say to that point, yeah, there are nurses who shouldn't be nurses, but at the same time, they are still nurses. They're not doing the job the way that it should be done because, like I said, you do need that level of compassion to perform that job. And all nurses don't have that. It's just with any profession. There are people in every profession and every walk of life that is doing something that they actually shouldn't be doing it, but they're still doing it for whatever the reason. And that's why I say you have police officers who are police.
Let me chime in there. Wolfkeeper University. People want to become dog trainers all the time. Within 5 minutes of talking to them, I can tell them, you know what? And I charge it's $15,000 for 4 months of training. I just told a woman on Friday, and I know I need the money. I said, you know what? You won't make it through. You won't. It's not in you to be a dog. Not with us. Now there's somebody else that's not going to care. It's the same way that it has to go back to the training. Whether now some jobs there's no barrier to entry. You can go do that. But I'm saying if before your hospital decides to hire that person and they don't have enough background knowledge to say no, you're not.
So where do they get it from? You can't say that somebody isn't fit to do. I mean, you can. However, if I come into a place and say this is what I want to do, then it's your job to train me to do it.
Exactly, and at the end of the day, Toriano, what I'm saying is,
I mean, to a certain extent,
it's my job to train you, but you might not get.
It's got to be entry. Yeah, it's got to be entry level somewhere. I mean, if my passion, my dream, my goal is to become a police officer, then the training, the academy, and everything that I go through to become the police officer, you guys need to equip me with everything that's needed so that I can be a successful police officer. If I need to be pulled off on the sidelines because I'm not dealing with a situation in a way that, according to the academy or whatever, then that's what you guys need to do. There's always should be training. There's always should be some type of supervision. There's always should be some type of
Okay.
accountability
You
when
know,
people when they mess up.
Here's the deal. All schools, all police stations, all dog trainers, wherever you're working, aren't created equal. Period. And the person that decides, Cameron, you're from Loyola, whoever decided to hire you, right, had to make a decision and say, I think this person's going to be a good fit. But if you hire somebody and that person ends up assaulting, raping, attacking, giving a patient the wrong medicine, right? At a certain point, you have to look at the track record of the person that's doing the hiring. Same way with
But Toriano, as a supervisor, you're not going to put that employee in situations that they're not fit to be in. If I know that today is Tammy's first day working at a hospital, I'm not going to have her do an operation to go cut the man's leg off or whatever the case is.
Before it even gets to that point, I'm saying before it even gets to that point, that when you hire, I'm saying this as a business owner, I don't care what business you're in, you have to make a decision based upon your expertise. Unless you have no expertise in that field and you're just hiring people, will this person work out?
So how do you train them? How do you train them to get them to where you need to be? They need to be.
You missed my earlier point. I'm saying that a lot of people, whatever business you're in, I don't care if you are working at the cashier at Dominic's. I don't care if you are a person that is the governor. Most training of any category is inferior. I'm saying this as a business owner because it costs money to train people to do whatever. I'm saying it's very expensive for me to train someone to become a dog trainer. It's very expensive.
So you rather not pay that price and just be a janky training facility?
Okay, can I interject the point that I was making? Because I think, Toriano, the point that I was making is totally separate from what you're making. The only point that I'm trying to make is that with the training for officers, which I agree, they all need to have training in de-escalation and other things associated with being a police officer. But what I'm saying is that at the end of the day, you are still going to always have police officers that are not a fit for the job because they don't have what they need emotionally, psychologically.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. If they get through, then I have a problem with the person that hired them. Period.
You're not gonna know that when they're going. It's just like when a new nurse right out of school, she doesn't have anything for that person who's hiring them to fall back on. They're right out of school. They can present a good persona. They can do an interview and be great. They're not necessarily great as a nurse because, like I said, to me, it requires a level of compassion that everyone does not have.
Okay, let me ask you this question. If a person comes to you and says, hey, if you take someone that you know and said, hey, I want to be a nurse, you know my son, Baraka, right?
Yeah, of course I know Baraka.
Would he make a good nurse? Hello? Hello? I think we lost her. Where I'm going with that is, in whatever category that you do out there, that a person knows to a certain extent, trust me, there's always going to be someone that's going to get through that wasn't properly vetted. I'm saying that the stakes are so high.
The point that I'm making is that you can have a nurse
I lost you when I asked you my question. I said, would my son Baraka make a good nurse?
But that's what I'm saying. Hold
on. It's just a yes or no question.
It's not just. See, you always think everything is just yes or no. He's not a serial killer, so if I was going to go based on, I don't think he'd go and kill somebody. Hold
on. It's a yes or no question.
It is not a yes or no question. Why do you think everything is black? Everything is not black and white, Toriano.
What I'm saying is that the reason you're saying it can't be a yes or no question is because where I'm going with that is, you as someone that's an expert in your field, you're going to whether that
there have been nurses that I have orientated.
Tammy, look, you can't.
Hold on, guys. So
No.
what would make you?
No, I'm saying unless you can't answer that question yes or no, and the reason you can't is because you know in your heart, and as an expert, there's certain people that you look at and you make the decision like, no, they can't be a nurse.
You know why I can't answer that question? I have orientated nurses that in my mind I'm thinking this person is not going to make it in nursing. 20 years later, they're one of the best nurses that I know.
Listen, I don't care about that. What I care about is my experiment. Yes or no?
Toriano.
You know what, Toriano?
How do you listen? Wait. Toriano, how do you?
And that's where I'm going.
Toriano.
Here, this is what I'm saying.
Toriano, can you let her get in her question?
Can Chanel be a dog trainer? No, she does not. She would not make it in my qualifications for wolf keeping dog training. Period.
How come? Why not? If I wanted to be a dog, why? How come? Why wouldn't you be able to train me to be a good dog trainer?
No, I said you can't be a wolf keeper dog trainer. You can be a Petco dog. You can be a dog trainer.
Why can I be a wolf keeper trainer though? Why can you train me? If I come and wanted to apply and wanted to be a dog trainer, and you take me and I'm
the same way how everyone's not designed to be into the NFL, no matter how much they might think they want to be in the NFL or the NBA.
Okay,
there's levels to everything, and that's what we're talking about. Is when you have people that are operating at the highest level possible every day, such as especially in civil serving positions, right? The amount of training by itself is going to X a lot of people out. Period.
Toriano. Okay, so based on you saying that, why are you saying that Chanel could not be a wolf keeper? Oh, better yet, could I be a wolf keeper dog trainer?
I mean, you can't. I can't even let you talk because you can't even answer my question because you know where I'm going to lead you.
No, I don't. Because why can't you answer my question?
Answer the question.
The question about Baraka.
I said, can Baraka be a nurse?
He can be a nurse, but he shouldn't be a nurse.
Okay, so the answer is no. It took all that.
But you said that he could. No, because you said, could he be a nurse? Yes, he could be.
Okay, listen. Let me. All right, my sister Shantae. Would Shantae make a good nurse? Yes or no?
No, now that I can say no. She would not make a good nurse.
Okay, so when she's deciding to sit down and fill out her application, say I want to become a nurse one day, you would tell her no, you wouldn't be a good nurse.
No, I'm not going to tell her no, she wouldn't be a good nurse.
The question is why though? Why wouldn't she be a good nurse?
This is what. So
can we address the issues that discriminates her from being a good nurse?
Right. And this is what I want to try to explain to Toriano. Everybody's not cut out for every field because sometimes you have traits or qualities that wouldn't make you necessarily a fit for that field. Or it depends on
my passion to be a good nurse might drive all of that.
Yes, and exactly. And see, this is my point.
When I say dog trainer.
When I say to Toriano, Shantae wouldn't make a good nurse, that is only based on the fact that I know she has a short temper. But if she gets through a nursing program, she doesn't have to be a bedside nurse. She can go work in a corporate office and
that wasn't the question. That wasn't the question. I didn't ask could Shantae work in the nurse in the medical.
Because you said would she be a good nurse? You period. Still.
I don't care about. I asked a specific. Where I'm going with this is real simple, and I'm saying.
Hey, Toriano.
It's not though. Okay, then I'm going to say yes if you're going to say it based on that. Because once she gets through the nursing program, she should not be a bedside nurse. But it doesn't mean that she shouldn't be a nurse. It's just like even within nursing, everybody is not cut out to be I'm not cut out to be a certain kind of nurse. I can't be a psych nurse.
Okay, that's not what I asked. Period.
Can I say something?
A nurse. You said.
Okay, hold on. Now we're getting to logistics. I don't want to get too caught up into that. Yeah. Want to keep it moving. Chanel, you want to say
right.
Something?
I just want to say, so if I wanted to be, I think the passion of what someone wants to be can go a long way. So if I wanted to be a police officer, if my passion was to be a police officer, a nurse, a chef, a basketball player, a football player, I think everybody's capable of doing that. You have to be properly trained to do all of those
Yes.
things.
And
Whatever discriminates your thinking of why that person can be that, let's address those issues. If I wanted to be a police officer, but I have a
Chanel,
horrible temper, a
here.
bad temper,
Let me
then
tell you,
why can't I go into a coaching facility?
my
Go
family,
ahead, Toriana.
my family's part of the police, the community, right? My grandfather, he loved being a police officer. He was designed to be a police officer. He was designed to be in the military, period, right? Great at it until he died. Retired, came out of retirement, went back. You could work in the law enforcement field. Chanel being a police officer, no, it's not going. Don't
I
waste.
mean, that's just like me bringing Bentley in there and saying that you can't train my dog. Like my dog isn't capable of being trained. Why not?
Totally different. Totally different. I'm talking about the
How
human.
come? It's
But
being
Toriana,
trained
I'm saying
to do the job that
no,
you're applying to be to do.
Toriana,
listen what I'm telling you. You can be a dog trainer somewhere. You're not going to meet our qualifications of being a dog trainer. Not that you can't be a dog trainer. It's
So
the same
equip
way.
me with those qualifications is what I'm saying. Equip
Some
me.
people aren't going to have the well, one, let's just keep it. Let's talk financials first and foremost. Are you, and just a yes or no question, real simple. Are you in a situation where you can be with me 8 to 10 hours per day for 4 months and live here?
If this is what I wanted to do, yes.
No.
I will make those accommodations.
I'm saying, would you do that?
If that's what I wanted to do, yes, Toriano.
Toriano, you are still totally missing the point. The point that she's making is that if you're passionate about something, you're going to make whatever concessions you need to make.
Tammy, hold on. Hold on. It's the Wolf Keeper show, not the Tammy show. Janelle, where I'm going with that is this is one of the barriers to entry, first and foremost. You don't have the time or the commitment or the ability to leave your home.
I'm not interested in being a dog trainer. If I was, then I would make those.
Not even just a dog trainer. I'm saying my dog trainer. I'm saying my trainers live with me for 4 months. Period. Simple as that, and they pay to do that. I'm saying that cuts out a lot of people right there by itself. I'm saying
that's what they want to do. That's what they choose to do. Correct.
What I'm telling
that's a decision that they've made, though, right? If I wanted to be a wolf keeper, and these are all the things that you're telling me that I have to do, it's up to me to say, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna stop what I'm gonna do. I'm living with you. I'm doing this and I'm doing that. But you can't discriminate me because you feel like, oh, I'm not capable of doing that.
What I'm telling you is that it's not about your capabilities of me guessing. I'm saying is that most people, if they change the criteria for whatever that is, whether that's let me just segue where I want to go because I want to beat that horse to bits because we need action items of what's happening right now. If you work in the city, right? If you want to be a police officer in the city of Chicago, if you want to be a teacher in the city of Chicago, you want to work the streets and sanitation in the city of Chicago, you need to live in Chicago. That's a law right now. I'm saying that should be broken down even further, that you need to work and live in the ward of where you're stationed, period. So if you work...
I'm sure there's a checklist. If you meet the checklist, then yes.
But listen, what I'm saying is that qualifications, that right there by itself would eliminate a lot of people by saying, look, if it means having to be a police officer and work over in North Lawndale and live over in North Lawndale, no thank you. If that means being a teacher over in North Lawndale and live in North Lawndale, no thank you. If that means being an alderman, politician, or whatever, some people are going to say, no thank you. What I'm saying is that much in life, I don't care what you're doing, much in life, whether it's a boyfriend-girlfriend relationship or you're the teacher, you're the chief of police, you're an alderman, the criteria is too low. My criteria for myself personally and the people I roll with is very high. So if you want to be a wolf keeper, no, most people aren't going to meet the criteria, but there's a whole bunch of...
Okay, so it's up to me to meet the criteria. Let me come correct to you and say, hey, I got all my T's and I's crossed.
No,
I'm ready to apply to be a wolf keeper trainer.
I'm saying if you go through all my criteria and you meet all the criteria, sure.
I really wish I wanted to be a wolf keeper trainer because I would prove you wrong.
That was the whole point at the end of the day. You can't be the person to make that decision. I mean, of course you can because it's your choice.
You just wait. Hold on. You just corrected yourself. Of course you can.
I said you can, but the point that I'm making is that you're saying, because you just made the point and said Chanel could not be a wolf keeper dog trainer.
She wouldn't make it through our criteria.
But I'm saying, if she really wanted to be a wolf keeper dog trainer,
criteria, I'm gonna be one.
I'm saying here's number one. Here's number one. She's not gonna pay the $15,000 up front. Period. That right there. That's not
why
criteria. She's not.
Why?
I'm saying you personally aren't going to pay. What you don't want to be.
I'm applying tomorrow. Why?
Chanel, don't do it.
I'm saying there's certain. That's the point I'm trying to get at. There's certain people that you all miss in my story, and I'm going to bring it back to the police officer.
I listened to your story, and I already know what the point that you're making.
That I told this person, you won't make it through, and I don't want to have to refund someone.
The question is why, though? Why?
Everyone's not cut out to do certain things. Period. Now,
why not?
Can you work in the pet? Can you do something else in the pet profession? Yeah, you should go over there. You should be a dog walker. You could be a groomer. You could be in administration. But as far as being an actual dog trainer,
so you think that everybody who's
same thing in the law enforcement. Everyone is not fit. And the proof is in the pudding. Obviously, everyone is not.
I hope you're playing the devil's advocate because that's kind of like discouraging that you say that. You feel like no one's capable in your eyes of being something.
Not my eyes. I'm saying that everyone has different capabilities. Period. Everyone's not designed.
So Toriano, listen. So even with the police officers, if I wanted to be a police officer, right? And you felt like I wasn't fit to be a police officer. So let's work up to whatever criteria, qualifications that I need to be a police officer, to be that police officer. It's up to you. It's up to me to meet you where I need to be and for you to train me to get to be equipped to be a good police officer.
Here's the deal. The key word is training.
Period.
Here's the main thing. And this is a fun fact that I would like to know for anyone that's out there, all these brainiacs or lines or everyone's on. How much do we spend per person for training? That's what we need to find out first and foremost, right?
Training for what?
Why does training need to be short?
I'm saying for a police officer, how much do we spend per person? What's the cost that the city pays to have a police officer trained? To have a county sheriff trained. I mean, that's because at the end of the day, we're talking about people that aren't skilled with a certain skill set. This police officer had to make a decision. There's a man running, right? There's a man running. He's turning around with a big yellow device that shoots out wires that can be attached to you that can paralyze you. Do I, 1, let him run? Do I, 2, throw my billy stick at him? Do I, 3, jump in my car? Do I, 4, shoot him? Or none of the above? I mean, I'm saying that scenario right there has to be trained. It's tons of training. To train someone for walking into a dark building late at night with your office. A lot of police get shot by a police officer.
So even the people who don't answer the question correctly, or people who does answer the question correctly, they still need to be trained. It still needs to be go over. All of those scenarios need to be go over.
That part I'm not debating. What I'm saying was that people don't want to spend the money on training. I'll give you an example.
And people should spend the money on training.
But they don't.
Because lives are being lost. Period.
They don't. I'm saying, but they don't. They don't.
Dumb decisions are being made. So training is necessary in everything. McDonald's to the gas station, training is necessary in every establishment. Whether you're fit, if you look at me and say I'm the best wolf keeper trainer or I'm not, training is still necessary.
Absolutely. What I'm saying is that do you, as a taxpayer, do you want to pay for it?
It needs to. As you as a taxpayer, do you want to continue to be having these conversations of people losing lives because someone's short-tempered or they don't know how to de-escalate a situation?
The answer is no. They don't want. Let me just here's the thing that a lot of people
That's
aren't aware of.
dumb.
Here's the thing that a lot of people aren't aware of. Of course, it's wrong, but I'm saying here's the thing a lot of people aren't aware of. Police officers aren't just given this unlimited supply of ammo, right? That they can just go to the police store and they can just get as much ammo as they want, right? They get an X amount of stipend, but then they can't just say, "Hey, I need 10,000 rounds of ammo because I want to be the perfect person when it comes to using my firearm, and I want to be at the fire range, the gun range, every day in practice." Right? They're not given an unlimited supply. They should, because that's something that you should be very skilled at to do, right? But most police officers might only pull. They might not never they wake up in the morning. They check their system. They go through it. They clean it. They put it in their holster. They jump in the car. They get done at work. They sit down. They take it all apart. They clean it. They put in. They store it. Right? Is that happening every day across America with every police officer with their firearm? Are they going to the gun range 3-4 times a week to practice? You probably should practice if you are in charge of using a system that can take a life. To have the responsibility of having something on your body that can take a life, the amount of training that you have to do, I'm saying that I don't want that job. I commend anyone that raised their hand that wants that job. All I'm saying is that the criteria for that job has to be higher. And it has to be so high that the people that are selected to have that job are well paid, are well trained, have continuous education and training, right? And are constantly put in constant scenario training. I mean, just even on the west side of Chicago, these kids now. I mean, take the police out of the equation as a citizen. These kids now are the drugs have changed, right? You have meth, you have them mixing cough syrup and other medications, right? You got PTSD, you got people that are just experiencing some type of mental illness, which that's a whole nother subject of mental illness hospitals that don't exist, especially in impoverished areas. But if there's someone in front of your face that is screaming at you, swearing at you, I mean, just on Saturday, this adult male who I've seen before is literally spitting at people, spitting, right? I've seen a lot. I'm around all kinds of human beings. I personally can remove it. I train myself for drama. I train myself for chaos. The people around me, I train for drama and chaos, which is part of the reason why a lot of people can't be a wolf keeper because the drama and chaos that I put people through, they quit. Trust me, I'm gonna put them through high levels of drama and chaos. They don't want to be around it. They quit. But you're talking now police officers that if I was trained with a police officer, I promise, you know what I would do? I'd put them all on the plane. I'd bring them to East African Kenya and let them walk through Courier Court and see true crime where there's a group of 5 kids right there with machetes. And when those group of 5 kids with machetes and one has a needle in their hand, one have a bag of dung in their hand, and they're walking to you and they say, Unataka Shalini. What does that mean? Give me your shit. I'm like, okay, you got a couple things you can do. You can run, you can try to fight them, or you can be relaxed. I chose to be relaxed when that happened to me. So there's levels to that training. Do we want to spend money on taking all of our police officers and putting them in more extreme situations so that they can deal with situations that aren't that big of a deal? Fighting with someone in a Wendy's is not that big of a deal when you think about being in front
Why not when it can escalate to a bigger deal?
Well, I mean, that's just bouncer 101. I'm not going to one on both parts, and that's the sad thing in America. As a black male, you have to be trained on what to do when you are around a police officer, which I would encourage. And I'm not even joking when I say this, that people should take my class because you will learn more about
Well,
dogs.
why do we have to train to why do we have to be trained and not the police officers being trained to deal with
I have a
this?
real question for you, and I just need a number. How many times have you been stopped by the police in your life?
How many times have I been stopped? Like traffic and all that stuff?
Anything.
Probably like 5.
I know for a fact, without really even thinking about it, I can probably think of at least 45 times. I tried counting. I think I'm gonna make a book. I can think about 45 times. Other 45 times I've been stopped by a police officer. I would say at least 10 or 15 could have resulted in extreme violence, not from me, but from the police officer. It happened 3 times. This is on Saturday. No, it happened 6 times on Saturday. 6 times I had to make a decision, right? And the last 3, that's just me sitting with some other people having a conversation. Not sitting. So part of the issue is that, yes, why do they both have to be trained living in, especially a city like Chicago? If not, you're doing yourself a disservice because something bad can happen. In the case in point, I want to end this on a note of saying that to the Brooks family in Atlanta, and I really mean this with all my heart. I pray for peace. I pray that their protests in the streets of Atlanta right now are completely filled. The chief police has quit. I mean, in Seattle right now, they have demarked a zone where police officers can't go. I mean, I have to go get my son, and his graduation is today in Minnesota, and I pray that everything goes all good, right? That what we're talking about are people developing skill sets where they can be calm and relax, especially if you deal with the public. Especially if you deal with the public, where you're a cashier, bartender, police officer, and depending on what level you have to deal with. But if you're dealing with people that potentially are experiencing mental illness, intoxicated, or have some type of mind-altering drug in their system, and potentially have some kind of weapon, that level of training is on a whole another level that when they talk about, it's not about defunding the police, it's about better training and us really analyzing. And that's not even police officers. I'm thinking of my mother right before she retired. A teacher, out of frustration, grabbed a child and shook him out of frustration. And that day she quit because out of frustration she shook a child. Everyone shouldn't be a teacher. I'm like, in this day and age, if you're gonna put yourself in a situation where you want to,
Triano, can I get some clarification on what you just said?
I just said everyone should, in what part?
No, did you say my sister shook a child and that day she quit?
No, I said right before she retired, another teacher she was working with shook a child.
Oh, I thought you said she shook a child.
No. A teacher, that's how she ended up having to teach 2 kindergarten classes at the end of her career because a teacher, out of frustration. I get it. I mean, I saw it firsthand. And I would encourage you, Tammy and Chanel. With Chanel, thank you. And on a quick side note, I want to thank everyone that came out this weekend. I want to thank Ron Cool, the Cool family, my good friend Joe P, and everyone that donated money that were able to get us T-shirts. Part of the reason why we wanted T-shirts was that everyone could be uniformed, so I could identify our people. I want to thank everyone that came out, and want to encourage everyone to, whatever you feel your calling is, to make a change in the world. And make no mistake that it would be an injustice globally to let these incidents that have occurred to just go by and be forgotten, like a Rodney King or an Emmett Till or any injustice that has happened, and not just against Black folks, but that happened against humanity. So this weekend, when I heard those derogative statements, those weren't derogative statements against me as a person who looks like this. Those were injustices against humanity, and that has to be thought after, hunted down, and eradicated and destroyed until people don't feel that they can say or do those things, and that violence can't be tolerated anywhere whatsoever. But on that path of getting there, it's not going to be cheap, right? It's going to cost money.
Price that still needs to be paid.
Right, it's going to cost money. Period. Simple as that. You mean whether it's paying money to organize it, to whether it's paying money, it's not cheap. War is not cheap. Change is not cheap. That's what we're talking about right now, because it always comes down to the almighty dollar, and this time there cannot be any expense held back regarding change. Period. So you want to contribute to the cause that we're working on. That's our peaceful dog walk, which we plan on doing every week. Go to our website, hit our GoFundMe, donate some money, right? And if you can't be there, you can definitely share your pocketbooks, because that goes towards more T-shirts, because it's very important for people to be uniformed. It's very important for people to do security. And two, as we get these under control, our plan and our platform is to get people to do peaceful dog walks across other cities and countries, because these protests aren't going anywhere. They're only going to continue to increase, and there has to be some kind of structure, or there's going to be more issues. That's my concern as a citizen of the world, that we don't need violence, mayhem breaking out like it's only day 3 in Atlanta. Thank God all they did was burn down a Wendy's, but that should have been a red flag right there. They burned down the entire Wendy's. So, all right. Any closing remarks, Chanelli?
I'll be sending in my Wolf Keeper application when we get off
should.
the show.
Chanel, don't do it.
I'm doing it. And you're going to train me to be the best.
Hey,
Chanel.
well, I wouldn't.
Chanel.
But everyone knows.
Yes.
I wouldn't be trained. It'd be Tyrone training you anyway.
I'm not thinking about Toriano.
Tyrone's a tough cookie. I don't know if he would, but I would encourage you.
It's all love. You got to be around the best to be the best, right?
Hey, steel sharp as steel. I say that all the time. All right.
Exactly.
I want to thank everyone. Thank all our guests. I want to thank all my people. I want to thank Rejoice in the crew, and my key warriors, and all my Wolfkeeper team, Tyrone Scott and Shaq, Denzel there in the backdrop, and everyone else. Tammy Yammy, thank you as always. I'm waiting for your podcast to come out, the Tammy Show. You need it in this.
I just have to find me a co-host, and I'll be starting one.
Janelle, I don't know. She might be on her.
Look how he's getting rid of me.
Well,
every show he gets rid of me.
No, you can't take Chanel. I'll find you one.
No, I know. That's why I said I have to find. I wouldn't dream of taking her from you, because you kind of need that balance on your show. But that's why I said I have to find a co-host, and
we'll find you one. All right, till tomorrow.
Love.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Stay peaceful.
Bye.
Peace and love, guys.